Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Who is here with me? If you're able to chat with me, can you let me know? It's very interesting to be teaching yoga virtually since the pandemic. I'm used to being in the classroom, watching bodies move, interacting with others. And so, this environment of teaching, I could see myself so that I know which side to tell you to go on or just different things. But really, where the guidance and the direction of what I choose to share comes from who I know is with me and what the needs are of those of you that are with me. So, if you're able to chat with me, let me know you're here. Um, this is my class. I keep um, not doing or saying that's going to be off. I might have even told everybody last week actually that I wasn't teaching this week. I'm not sure. But anyway, if you're able to chat with me, you could chat on your iPhone. If you have the YouTube app, you can go on your iPhone and chat with me on the iPhone app and let me know if you're here so that I know who's here with me. Lauren. Great. um, Glad you're here, Lauren. Yeah, I've been in flux with this class, so I've actually had to cancel it a lot over this time off, and so it's kind of I think people aren't really sure whether I'm going to be here or not. But I'm glad you're here. So Lauren, do you have a tennis ball? If you had a tennis ball, when I have a lot of props that I bring with me to my yoga for balance class that I really love. And one thing that I use often is a tennis ball. So I'm going to suggest that you go grab a tennis ball if you have one. And if you do not have a tennis ball, a towel will do. So let me see if I have a towel because I'd like to show you how the towel can work if if you don't have a tennis ball. And I should have it here in my little goodie bag. Yeah. Okay. You've never done yoga 3 days before. You know what's really amazing, Lauren? What you'll really find out is that you start to lay down muscle and bone and strength and balance and coordination. Um, I'm going to say that everything happens at the speed of nature. So it's not like a pill where we take it and all of a sudden the headache's gone or things are shifted. I'd say that within 6 months of practicing, and for some people, that's only 1 day a week. So I'm going to say that you will notice things sooner than that. But for me, 6 months after having somebody take my class, and even if it is just 1 day a week, with all of this attention to detail and different things each week, it's amazing what I notice in people's bodies in terms of strength, flexibility, and balance. So we'll do a couple of things today for you to actually, I'm going to do a couple of things where you could start to notice. There's a couple of certain poses where I feel that you could see, oh, here's where my balance is. And then, 2 months later, 3 months later, you're like, wow, look at, I could do this now. So there's a couple of poses in yoga that can be indicators for us on how strong we're getting and how we're improving. You do have a tennis ball. Okay, great. So I'm going to teach with a tennis ball just in case there's somebody else out there that's not able to talk to me that doesn't have a tennis ball. You could get a towel and roll the towel up. I like to fold it like this and then roll it like this because I want the stimulation in the foot because that's the kinetic chain where the kinetic chain begins is in the sole of the foot. So if we can get some activation and feel that pressure, so you're either going to grab a tennis ball or a washcloth that you could roll up, or any kind of towel that you could roll up, or anything that would be like this. It's actually a really good thing to do is to have a lot of different balls, different textures of balls, whether some have little knobs on them or little ridges, and then some are soft and some are harder, more dense. There are a lot of dog toys actually are great because they've got knobs on them and balls and things, and they can be really stimulating for the feet, which is so important, I think, for balance. So when we stand up, we'll use the balls today so that you could get that. Hi, Athena. I see that you're here. Great. Okay, great. So Athena has tennis balls as well. And then whoever else is out there, if you have a tennis ball or if you have a towel. Okay. So we're going to begin class today with the intention of bringing the blood and the fluids to the brain so that we supply the brain with the necessary ingredients to be at its optimal functionality. So I am going to recommend that you have a chair or a wall to start in so we can bring the fluids from the lower extremities down to the head. And especially if you've been sitting for a long time and the heart's had to work extra hard, think about it. You're sitting on your tushy, so you're squishing your muscles. You've got your hips in flexion, so you're contracting this area. You have the largest blood vessels, the arteries and veins that go down to the toes and bring all the stuff down to the feet and then bring it back up to be oxygenated in the lungs to the heart to be circulated. When you're in a seated position, you're compressing this area, you are flexing this area. It's like you're kinking your hoses for that flow to occur in the body. So let's come on to our backs. If you have a chair, that would be great. If you don't have a chair, maybe you can go up against the wall and have your tushy close to the wall and have your legs resting up the wall. That's an even, I don't want to say better, but that's another aspect of an inversion. And then with the lower legs, you want your lower legs totally supported by the chair. So you don't want it to be that the heels are on the chair and the calves are off, because that just doesn't give that same muscular relaxation of the upper leg bone sinking nice and deep in the pelvis, really letting that pelvis go into a neutral, letting that low back settle down, and then really allowing for relaxation where a lot of lymph nodes are in the inner thigh area and then the blood vessels. So creating physically unobstructed flow of your physical fluids. That did bring up something for me. Okay, so that would be that if you have a chair that has a back, you may need to turn your chair to the side, is what I'm saying, so that the legs are really supported fully. Okay, so depending on if you have a back to your chair and your feet don't go through it, that would be what I'm referring to. So allow the legs to go down onto the chair, bodies on the floor, letting the floor be part of what helps to align your spine. You press your head into the floor and then slide the shoulder blades one at a time closer to the spine so that you bring the shoulder blades back onto the back, which is where their home is. It's where they should be living. And then depending on what you do throughout your day, they come to the sides of the body. Then you're going to take the arms to the side, that upper arm bone to the side, palms are up towards the sky. And then bring your awareness to the back of the neck as you lengthen the back of the neck, that your neck is nice and long here. Feel that neck being nice and long. And then yoga, the act of yoga, self-care, taking care of your body, thinking about your body or paying attention to your body in a way that maybe we normally don't. And of course, some do. And then realizing that your body is a body-mind complex. And that what we take in through our senses has an effect on the rest of the body. And that there's this communication aspect of the body where things come in through the head and then they go down and they cause issues in the tissues of the body, especially stress and metabolic conditions. And then I'd like to speak about the balance aspect, that we stand on things, we put our body in space in certain positions, and that is relayed back up to the brain from proprioceptive nervous system. So wherever the feet are standing, wherever the body weight is being distributed, that signal goes back up to the brain. So really keeping this whole flow of communication from up to down and from down to up, flowing and free. And then understanding that the thoughts play a role in all of that too. So we're working in yoga on the body and the mind. We're working on strengthening not only the physical body for balance, we're strengthening the mental body for balance. And then we're strengthening that part of you, your higher intelligence, of feeling secure and not afraid of falling or being afraid of aging and becoming more fragile with age. So that's what we're here to do. Might sound like a tall order, and maybe it is, and it's exactly what yoga does. Total mind, body, self-care, healing practice. Keeping the eyes closed. Start to notice the back of your body, whatever it's touching. Let's begin down at the feet. Noticing the feet, the calves, whatever you're touching. Then the next place of weight may be the tushy. Notice that. Then you notice your spine. Notice the back of the body, the rib cage, the shoulders, backs of the hands and the arms, the back of the head. And then allow the back teeth to separate. Let the tongue rest gently where the teeth and the roof of the mouth meets. Following the breath in the body, notice where it goes. Notice if you do nothing to it, where does the breath go? And for most of us, without really paying attention, the breath stays pretty shallow in the lungs. So we're going to get involved now, balancing out the deeper breath, balancing out the signaling to the nervous system that the coast is clear and the body can let go of preparing to flee. So the muscles can soften, allowing for a better, clear pathway of communication. Often when people stumble, they'll tell you they were in the middle of doing this, or they were running to get this, or running to get that, or not paid attention, they tripped over the curb on the street. There's usually some distracted mind component when we trip or we fall. So let's free up the nervous system so that the nervous system can let go of any tension or holding of muscles that it may be preparing to flee, getting the body to prepare to flee. That's what the nervous system does. Puts you in a state of fight, flight, or a state of rest and digest. And that state has a lot of inner workings of the body that are a part of those states. So let's let the relaxation state come in. Back teeth are separated, lips are gently touching. Bring your awareness to your chest. Follow the breath in. Start to deepen the breath, bringing the breath below the heart down to the lower lobes of the lungs. Feeling the lower ribs expand and contract as you inhale and exhale. Bringing the breath down to the lower lobes and the lower ribs. Start to feel the belly rise. And then take the hands, let's bring the hands onto the belly. So both hands rest at the lower belly. And feel the hands move as you breathe. The thumbs are lower than the belly button. The pinky fingers are all the way down to where your legs attach to the body. As you bring the breath in deep, feel the belly rise and fall with breath. Let your hands just rest there so that as you breathe in, you feel your belly pressing into your hands. You feel your hands rise, and then you feel your hands fall towards the spine. So the hands are actually going along for the ride, rising up and falling back down. Finishing this breath that you're on, take one more breath. Then bring your awareness to your fingers, your toes, as you start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Rolling your ankles in your wrists. That just made me yawn as my breath rate slowed down so much. My body needed or wanted to accelerate the pace of my heart rate. The heart rate actually lowers so much that the body yawns and brings in breath to bring in that, to raise that heart rate. Okay, let's roll onto our right side. Then push yourself up to a seated position so you can move your chair off to the side, getting yourself ready. We're going to do some strengthening of the body before we come up and do some balance work. We'll come down onto our backs. I like to work the core today. So if you do have a block, I'd like you to get a block. And if you don't have a block, get a towel that you can fold up, because this is good for helping to stabilize and turn on support muscles in the pelvic area, inner thighs, so that you can keep your body safe when you do these movements. Come up onto the first part of balancing today. We're going to do is we're going to balance on the tailbone. So take your hands behind your thighs, a little balancing back and forth on the tailbone, then come to a held position, balancing on the tailbone. So this is you balancing, really, literally. You're on your tushy, but you're also at the very edge of the tailbone. So you've got the tushy on either side to help with this, which makes it doable. And then let's add a little challenge. This is, I've heard of this as referred to as octopus. It's a variation kind of a Navasana boat pose. So there's core work. The core has to turn on here. Then you challenge yourself by moving your limbs into different areas away from you and then out to the sides, up above you, just a little challenge here. And then bring yourself to center, hopefully generating some heat in that midsection to bring your awareness to the core. Then we're going to roll down slowly. If you have osteoporosis, I'd like you to move to the side and reach your hand away and go down so that you don't round your upper spine. And then if you do not, you can come through a movement of trying to get the spine to touch the floor one vertebra at a time, lowering down slowly, then coming all the way down. The blanket is on the mat. Let's take the arms overhead, stretch your body glove, feel the stretch. Notice where there may be tension, where there may be tightness in your body. Feel that stretch, stretch, stretch. And then bring that left knee into the chest. Hold the left knee in, straighten that right leg. Feel that right leg stretch. And then holding on to that left knee, we're going to rotate that left knee over to the right. And then I'd like the left hand, the palm is up towards the sky. Now, for some of you, you may be able to bring your knee all the way down to the floor. People with posterior hip replacements, I don't really recommend that. So if you have a posterior hip replacement, which I do on this side, I like to hold on underneath my knee, just allowing the body weight to go over there, feeling the stretch on the side, by the thigh, and then also up by the armpit area. And then also resting your leg or your foot on the leg can help as well. So just feel your way into this stretch, just beginning, taking the tissue and stretching your tissue for that communication to be free flowing. Take an inhale. As you exhale, contract your core, bring yourself back to center. Let's straighten that leg. Take yourself back to center for a nice body stretch. Inhale here. And then exhale, draw the right knee into the chest this time. Draw the right knee in, the left leg goes straight, and notice where you're feeling some stretching. Take that left leg straight. Then let's take the left hand onto the right knee, right hand out to the side, and you're going to twist your body over to the left, noticing what you notice here, taking your time to get to a place that feels appropriate for you to feel a nice deep stretch in your body. If you feel it too much on your low back, I recommend that you hold that upper right leg with that left arm, even bending the elbow, putting the elbow on the floor and letting that palm hold on to that upper right leg bone. And then find positions, moving a little to see where you feel the best stretch for your body. Twists are a very individual pose, I find. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself back to center. Let's bring both knees into the chest. Let the low back go towards the floor, flexing back and forth or rocking back and forth. So we just did twist, and a counter pose to twist is bridge pose. So let's go right into bridge pose. Do a little flow here. Take the blanket back away from the back of the head and bring the block between the knees. And at first, I want you to just pick your feet up and just put them where they go. So don't walk your feet closer to your body here. Be in a neutral place, and this will limit the range of motion of the pelvis coming off the floor, because I'd like to free up the neck here as well. This is where the nerves come off the brain, down through the neck, and then the sensory motor neurons go throughout the body. So let's take this whole neck area and free that up. Lengthen the back of the head. Feel the middle of the head touching the mat. Feel the back head nice and long. Palms are down alongside your body. We're going to inhale. Let the left hand rise. Squeeze the block. Pelvis comes off the floor, and then rotate your head to the right. Let the left hand go to the floor above you. Maybe it touches the floor when it gets there. And then as you exhale to come down, you let your pelvis come to the floor and your hand come down. So your body probably lift too high off the floor here to come in. That's why I asked for the feet to be a little farther away from the body. Let's do the other side. As you squeeze the block, push your feet into the floor. Inhale, lift the right hand off the floor, rotate your head to the left. Feel the stretch in the neck, feel the stretch underneath the right arm. Exhale to lower. Inhale, left arm, head goes to the right. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Go slow. If you could close your eyes, squeeze your block, lift your pelvis off the floor, bring your arm up and over, rotate your head in the opposite direction. And feel this. Inhaling to rise. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Let's do two more. Maybe now you're feeling some heat generating in the glutes. This is working the glutes and the hamstrings, very important aspects for strength in our body, for balance. And then go ahead and bring yourself all the way down. So I'm not with you to ask you about that, but I definitely feel the action in the glute area. So I'm going to ask you to walk your feet a little farther away from your body. Take your blanket behind your head. Take the block away. Put your feet in a neutral place wherever they go when you lift them up. Like march a little. Actually, let's do this where we unbend and bend the knee. So flex and extend the knee, and then just feel that. I'd like you to actually look at your feet when you do this. And when you do it, I want you to notice, do your feet go out to the side? I want you to notice if there's any tension as you unbend your knee joint. For those of you that have issues in the knees, notice if the knees bother you when you do this, because this is non-weight bearing. And I find for many with issues in their knees, they're able to do movement like this. And this will actually bring some lubrication into that joint. You're probably feeling some heat generating in the quadriceps. Really important. These muscles support the knees, support the hips, and then are really important for balance, for aging. There's actually a study done, the ABC study, a very large study on a lot of people. And what the ABC study found is that the people who were the healthiest as they aged were the people with the strongest leg muscles. So I find that really interesting. And there's a lot of work that we do or that I teach, I share, asana based aspects of strengthening the legs. Okay, your feet just went where they are. You're going to contract your core. So we're going to work on the core in a second, but draw everything inward and then push down towards the floor so you flatten the low back into the floor. That's a posterior pelvis. Then I just want you to lift your pelvis off the floor so it just hovers. You could just get clearance of your hand. It's not really high. You're not lifting your rib cage off the floor. You're just lifting the lower glute area. And this is going to get that glute minimus. Then I want you to push the left foot into the floor and let's let the right foot hover. If you had a tray of champagne flutes on your floor, on your core, on your belly, that had fizzy water with raspberries and mint sprigs in them, they wouldn't tip side to side. And then go ahead and put that right foot down on the floor, activate the right foot and lift the left off. Keep that pelvis nice and stable. Stable pelvis. This is important for balance, to keep that pelvis from wobbling. So strengthening this whole fulcrum area of where balance occurs. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and lower that foot. Let's bring the legs all the way down. We're going to do core. So I would like you to take the, trying to think which core. I didn't freeze. I'm just thinking about what core exercises I'd like to do. Okay. We're going to take the block between the legs. When we have the block between the legs and we squeeze and activate the adductor muscles, this turns on that whole midline of the body, supportive of the pelvis. And so this gets some activation of those adductor muscles. Take the hands behind the head, clasping the hands behind the head, thumbs go down the neck. Let the elbows be out to the sides. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, and I want you to think about when you used to put on those skin tight jeans. Hopefully, everybody here knows of that or has seen images of that. In the 80s, I think Brooke Shields used to do it when she had her Calvins on. And then for many of us in the 70s, wearing those skin tight jeans, or the 80s, putting those skin tight jeans on that didn't have any elastic in them, you had to draw inward to start lifting up the zipper and then pull your belly away from the zipper so you didn't catch yourself. So there's an inward and then a backward movement. You draw in and then you suck your belly back using the muscles to push back. That's the zipper action of the core muscles, drawing in like a corset and then up and then pressing back. So it's an in, up, and back movement that you do for core activation. Hands are behind the head, thumbs are down the neck, elbows are out to the side. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, squeeze the block, lift the upper body off the floor. The chin can come, well, no, leave the elbows out to the side, flatten the low back into the floor, lift up as high as you can, and then inhale to lower. Exhale to rise, squeezing the block, contract the core, zipper up, in, up, press back, flatten that low back to the floor, and then inhale to lower. Your tushy stays on the floor. You're lifting your upper body off the floor. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. And then one more time, contract your core, squeeze the block, flatten the low back, lift the upper body off the floor, stay here. Little pulses, elbows are out to the side, contracting the core. Press the belly to the spine and try to flatten the low back into the floor. Stay here. If you could lift one leg off, and then bend that knee, and then lift the other leg. Elbows are out to the side, low back is flat into the floor. If you need to come down, come down. If you could stay up, stay up. One more. And then bring yourself all the way down. We're going to do oblique side core work here. Inhale. As you exhale, squeeze the block, firm up the core, start to press the belly to the floor. Let the right elbow stay in the floor and lift the left elbow up to point towards the right knee. Inhale to lower. Exhale, squeeze the block, contract the core, push the belly button to the spine, lift the upper body up, bring the right elbow over towards the left knee. Inhale to lower. Squeeze the block, contract the core, lift the left elbow over towards the right knee. Right elbow stays on the floor. Inhale to lower. So keep that opposite elbow on the floor, and then the elbow reaches over towards the knee. You exhale to rise, doing the work. You inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale, lower. Keep going. You stop if you need to. If you could continue and experience the heat in the core and be okay with that. Strengthening the core, very important for trunk stability, for spinal alignment and joint alignment, which is part of balance. Last one is to the left. And then bring yourself all the way down. Let's bring your knees into the chest, rocking side to side. Take your legs up in the air. Take your hands up in the air. Just let them all shake. Let everything settle back down. Let the low back settle down towards the ground. And then bring yourself into a happy baby. The legs are spread. You draw the knees in towards your chest, stretching that low back. When we do a lot of core and then some of the other stuff we did today, there can be a lot of work in that low back area. So just noticing how everything feels there. And then you're going to rock onto your right side. Use your left hand to push yourself up to a seated position. So this is the pose I was referring to earlier, where I notice that you can just notice in your own body where you may have, like, what your balance is now, and then a few months from now you'll notice improvement in this area, in this pose. This is one of the poses that tells you how strong your balance is or not. Okay, so it's called Spinal Balance. You're going to take your hands underneath your shoulders, your pointer fingers are forward. You're going to slide your left leg back, slide your left hand forward. Let the back neck be nice and long. Inhale to rise, and then exhale to touch down. Keep your arms straight, keep your legs straight. Inhale, right arm lifts, left leg lifts. Exhale to touch down. One more time. Right hand lifts, left leg lifts. So when people first start practicing yoga, there's a lot of unsteadiness here. Maybe the hands need to touch the floor. This is where balance really shows up for you. And this is a place where you can notice that you get stronger over months of practice of yoga. If you want to challenge yourself here, turn your palm to face inward. Contract the core, lift the right foot off the floor. So it's just the right knee that you're balancing on, contracting the core, lifting the right hand away. Push the left fingertips into the floor. Slide the left leg a little closer to the right leg. Right foot is off. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. We'll go to the other side. The good news is you're close to the floor. So even if you were to fall, you're very close to the floor. Not going to hurt yourself here. I've not had anyone ever hurt themselves in this. Let's inhale, slide the left hand out, slide the right hand out. Inhale to lift, right leg, left arm. Exhale to lower. Arm and leg stay straight. Don't bend the joints. Inhale to lift. Exhale. One more time. Inhale to lift. Right leg, left arm. Stay here. Contracting the core, protecting the belly. If you want to lift your left foot off the floor here, push your right fingertips into the floor. Turn your left palm inward, left thumb up towards the sky. Notice what you notice. Notice where the wavering is. Notice where the balance challenge is. And then let's slowly lower all the way down. I want you to flip your feet under. Flip your feet under. So your toes are under and sit on your heels. I can't see you all, so I don't know who has knee flexion issues. For people whose knees don't like to bend, you're not going to be able to do this. For those of you that you don't have issues in your knees, this may show you that maybe you have some tightness in your feet. And what I notice, maybe now I'm at home, but before, when I was teaching at the hospital, up to 8 classes a week at sometimes, over 100 people a week for years, I would notice that the people that had the tightest muscles, the tightest body, not even just the weakest bodies, but a lot had to do with tightness, is they had the worst balance. So this here is to open up the feet, and it can be intense when you first start practicing it. The other thing I'd like you to do here now is flatten the feet and sit on the feet. Roll out your wrists. This is stretching the top of the feet. So I'm not there with you guys, just in case there's somebody at home screaming that this is really crazy. You could fold up the blanket and put the folded blanket right there where the ankle joint bends, and that will help to minimize that. So I really suggest that you take care of your feet, your ankles, your calves, really important part of the body when it comes to balance. So that spinal balance pose is really great indicator to test yourselves. Now here's another thing we're going to do. Again, this is for people with no knee flexion issues. We're going to balance on our toes, coming into your toes. So I'm going to come to the front to show you what this is. So I'm on my toes are bent. I'm on the pads of my toes. My heels are lifted. I'm on my toes, my knees are bent, my hips are bent. So it's not for everyone. And there's a wavering, there's a balance aspect here. Take your hands up. You can even challenge yourself with this, moving your hands. I wouldn't move a lot here. You just want to actually bring in movement of the feet back and forth. So the feet have to turn on here. And then go ahead and bring yourselves down. I'm going to teach you a nice, safe way to get up since this is a balance class. I'll tell you that when I'm in person, quite often the people that come to the balance class, a lot of them have issues with I said tightness, but also, of course, with balance because they're in a balance class. So the ability to move from one position to the other is something that we have to pay attention to, especially if you're over 40. So starting in the 40s and above, because the aging process inside, and then especially for also if you have a lot of chronic stress in your life and you have constant dilation and contraction of the blood vessels from chronic stress, the pliability is weaker as we get older. So the ability for the body to calibrate between a supine lying down position to a upright position takes some time. So we're going to come from this position here, and you're going to bring a foot forward. And it doesn't matter which foot you bring forward. You're going to flip the back toes under. You already have your head above your heart. You're going to take your hands here. You're going to inhale, and when you exhale, you're going to push yourself forward and all the way to standing. And that's a really nice way. That's actually something I learned from a PT on how to move through positioning to get from one position to the next. Now we are going to use the ball if you have a ball. So I asked a few of you if you had a tennis ball. You said yes. And then I'm not sure if everybody does. And if you do not have a tennis ball, get a rolled up washcloth to act as a tennis ball. And then it will be good for you to be near a wall or to be near a chair for this. So when I'm in person, I bring a lot of props with me, and the tennis ball is something I bring often to my balance class. We're going to do a little something to start to warm up the feet to get the communication and the blood flow to be really fluid moving through the feet, okay? So let's take the tennis ball, bring the tennis ball on the floor, and we're going to begin with our left foot. So I think for most of you, this side of the screen, if you're looking at me, is your left. Unless you're on an iPad, it's probably changed. Okay, so I'm going to do my left. This is my left foot. It may look to you like it's the right because this is your right side, but I'd like you to go to your left foot because I find that most of us are right-handed and and it's 2/3. So of course, there's probably some of you out there that are not. So you're going to step on the ball in the arch, and I'm actually trying to not let my heel or my toe touch. So I don't have my toe on the floor and I don't have my heel on the floor. I'm trying to let all my body weight be on the ball. Let me go this to the side. And I know it's uncomfortable. It's the most uncomfortable part of this is to put the body weight in the arch. So you have the chair there and you can put a bend in your joints. Come to stand on that ball with as much force as you can handle. And I'll tell you that if you go to a acupressure, I used to go to this Chinese acupressure guy, and he said that if you have pain and discomfort, it's because you've got congestion and issues in your body. So for some people sitting there, they were screaming, ready to fly off the table, depending on whatever the issues were. Try to let as much pressure as you can handle. See if you could stand all the way on it, coming onto the right tippy toes with as much pressure and weight on as you can handle. Then you're gonna flip your foot on the inner edge. So your foot is on the inner edge. So you're on the inner edge of the arch, flipping your foot to the side. So you're by the big toe edge. You're right in the space where the arch is. So the arch part of the foot, that's what that lifts up. The kinetic chain goes from the arch of the foot up the leg laterally, up the body, communicating. So get your tissue all nice and stretched. Now, I have not done this, gosh, maybe not at all since maybe for the past 5 months. I don't think I have. So I'm really noticing because normally I would do the ball in a class setting probably at least once a week, sometimes more often. So this is a sign for me that I need to get the ball out. Okay. Now you're going to come to the top part of the foot. You're going to spread the toes, and then you're going to press the heel on the floor, and the top of your foot's on the ball. And if you look down, you cannot see the yellow ball. So the ball's not all the way on your toes. Your toes are able to wrap around like an eagle on a flagpole wraps its talons around the flagpole. You're able to wrap your toes around the ball, and you'll see white on the toes. And then if you'd like to challenge yourself with balance here, have your chair nearby. You're going to come onto your right tippy toes, contract your core. So we did a lot of core work so you would feel what that zipper and press back action feels like. The heel is on the floor, and then you're going to lift your right leg off the floor if you can, the right foot off the floor. Contract, pushing that heel into the floor. Very hard to balance without toes. We need our toes. Toes are very, very important for balance. So this kind of shows you that here. Push that heel into the floor, lifting that opposite foot up, and then go ahead and come down. Make sure you have your chair in front of you. Take your heel now. It's the heel on the ball. So it's like a high heel, a ball high heel. Your heel is in the very center of your heel is on the ball. Spread your toes. Press your toes into the floor. Then come onto your right tippy toes. See if you can come into the balance here. It's a lot easier to do a balance in this position. You've got your toes in the floor, so you've got your toes to help you really feel the toes pushing into the floor. So when you're off the mat and you're walking or you're going somewhere where you're feeling uneven pavement or not quite so secure in your balance, if you activate the toes, this helps to stimulate and to keep the balance aspect of you going. And then let's go ahead and come down. So take the ball all the way up and down the foot, even bending the foot. So try to bend the foot so it's on the side. You go up and down, you go side to side, and then come up to the big toe where the big toe attaches onto the foot and get that area. And then the other toes. So in terms of nerve endings in the body, the nerves, like certain things like the thyroid is right underneath the big toe, like the nerve that supplies the thyroid goes all the way down there. Then the toes can be related back up to the sense organs, the eyes, the ears. And then I'd like you to come off your ball. I'd like you to hold on to your chair and close your eyes, or hold on to the wall, close the eyes, or minimize the gaze. And bring your awareness down to your left foot. That's the foot we just worked. Hopefully you were working your left foot. And if you did your right, then bring your awareness there. Bring your awareness to the foot you were just standing on and notice what you notice. And then bring your awareness over to the other foot and compare the difference in the sensory aspect, what you're sensing from one foot to the other. Notice the arch of the foot, the whole sole. Does one feel bigger than the other? Does one have more tingly aspects in it than the other? And just notice what you notice. And then go ahead and open your eyes. So for the majority of the people, and myself included right now, I feel aliveness and energy in my left foot that we just worked. My right foot feels static and nothing. I feel nothing. And I feel like it's tingling, like my left foot is vibrating with energy, and it's warm and it's fuzzy and buzzing, my whole leg, my ankle and everything. And what you people usually say is that one foot feels bigger, the one they just worked feels bigger, or they feel like the arch is touching the floor. So I'm not sure what you're experiencing, hopefully something, and maybe you can let me know after at the end of class. I'd love to know if you're experiencing that. Now we're going to come to the other side. And the good thing to me about really noticing that is that there is truth to this. This is not just some woo woo thing where I'm saying, do this. It's good for turning on the receptors of the body, that you actually experience it and feel it. And that's pretty amazing. Coming to the right foot, the ball is in the center of the right foot. And feel that ball is in there. Just feel that. Um, feel what it feels like. If you can put more weight on it, you can come to the tippy toes of the other foot, bending the other knee, so that you put a little bit more weight into that right foot where the ball is, right in the arch of the foot. The front of the foot's not touching the floor. The back of the foot is not touching the floor. Just feel that, feel that, feel that. Deep breath. And then you're going to bring yourself onto the arch. Take the ball to the arch, so you're bending your foot to the side and you're moving. There's kind of layers there of muscles and connective tissue. It can feel pretty crazy. For some people, there's just a lot of discomfort when they do this. And just in my experience with people, the ones who are willing to take the time out to really heal the things in their body and mind that need worked on, is that you can actually get better and improve in areas of your body. It doesn't have to be a downward spiral that you can't come back from. Then we're going to come to the top of the foot. So you place the heel in the floor. You take the top of your foot, you press the ball into the top of the foot. So when you look down, you do not see the yellow ball, and you wrap your toes around the top of the foot. You can even contract and release and contract and release. Feel the heel in the floor. Come to the opposite foot on the tippy toes. And if you'd like to try to do balance, this is the one that's a little bit more challenging because we need our toes for balance. Coming into this is called Karate Kid, so it strengthens the opposite leg. Press the heel into the floor. Just notice what you notice. If you want to put your hand on the chair for support. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself off. We're going to come now to the heel is in the ball. Spread the toes. Put the toes on the floor. So for those of you that are actually doing the balance challenge here, if you're able to lift your leg up, or even maybe just touch the big toe, the opposite big toe. If you're able to lift the leg up, this is a really great strengthening pose, kind of like a tree pose, like a form of tree, or that single leg weighted balance pose, strengthening the standing leg bones, the hip joint. Contract the core, push the belly button back towards the spine. Easier to balance here because now you have your toes to help you. It's like a ball high heel. And then let's go ahead and bring ourselves down. Take the ball, roll the ball through the whole bottom of your foot. So not just down the center. Try to get it to go down the pinky toe edge side. Try to get it to come in the arch part of the foot, and then come to the big toe pad where the big toe is. Roll around there. Get your feet, get your feet. And then I'd like you to get the ball and make sure the ball moves away from you. So kick it away from you or put it away from you so it's not in the space where you could actually trip on it. And if you can, close your eyes, bring your awareness to your feet. See if you could feel the pads of your feet. If you could feel your toes, your top part of your foot, the pinky toe edge of your foot, the heel. Feel the arch and just notice your foot. And then go ahead and open your eyes. Another thing that I just became aware of is how many people develop neuropathy. And so that's another thing. Oh, and I didn't show this, but hopefully for those of you that if you didn't have a tennis ball, to use the rolled up towel for that stimulation still gives you an uneven surface, not quite as rolly as a ball, yet it still gives you an uneven surface and it gives you pressure in the tissue there to do some of the stuff. And so for those with neuropathy, sometimes this can bring back some sensation. I mean, of course, not proven in a scientific research study, just proven to me with people that have issues and how they have improvement with some of the stuff that we do together when we're in class. Now take the chair, just bring the chair to the top of the mat for a second. I want you to, we're going to practice the proper gait and just feel the foot making the proper contact with the floor. So just walk around a little bit. Try to keep your awareness down in your feet when you walk and see if you can notice the heels touching the floor. So just let the heels make that touch on the floor. And then I want you to bring your awareness to the pinky toe edges of the floor, of the foot, sorry. And then I want you to notice if you notice when your toes touch the floor. And then notice if the toes bend at all when you're walking. So you're walking, but your awareness and your mind is in your feet. You're trying to notice in the feet different things that happen in the feet. And then I'd like to have you come back to center. There's such a thing as walking meditation. And I'd like to suggest that we bring our awareness to our feet when you're walking, especially for those of you with balance challenges. We're going to do a proper, like, where does the weight distribution go in the foot during a proper gait? So bring a heel forward, bring the heel forward. Then the next thing is the pinky toe edge. So it's the pinky toe right underneath the pinky toe that touches the floor. And then if you had really soft peanut butter that you're going to spread on toast, you're going to spread the peanut butter from the pinky toe across to the big toe. So now your entire foot is on the floor. Then you're going to come off of the back foot and put all your body weight on that foot that you just put down onto the floor. You're going to bring the other foot off the floor slowly. Bring the other heel, pinky toe edge, spread the peanut butter from pinky toe to big toe, weight bear, and bring yourself up. Let's do that a few more times. You do heel, pinky toe edge, spread the peanut butter, weight on that leg, heel, outside edge where the pinky toe is, spread the peanut butter, fully weight bear. Now the back toe, let's pay attention to that. The back foot, the toes bend. The toes push you away, especially that big toe pushes that back foot away when we're walking. Heel, pinky toe edge, peanut butter, fully weight, back toe pushes you away. I want you to walk around with that. Walk around, have your mind in your feet, feel the heel strike. Feel the pinky toe edge. Feel the spreading across so that the big toe puts weight on it. And then take a wider stride so you feel that back toes bending and pushing you off. Notice how going slow is harder. So go a little faster and see if you could be in there. Do you notice heel, pinky toe edge, toes bending? Really get your toes to bend. Try to keep your knees a little bit on the straighter side. Feel all of this. Then bring yourself back to center. So for some of you, this may be new. This may be stuff you've never done before. I think that body awareness, when you can understand your body and the way it works and work on where you have your issues in your tissues, it then goes into the other layers of you. Your confidence when it comes to balance, feeling really secure in your feet, very important. Okay, so let's do something else. So that was a lot of foot stuff. Now I'd like to do ankle. The ankle movements are supination. So feel like you're ripping the rug apart. Feel like the toes are going towards the heels. Push your feet into the floor. Feel like you're ripping them apart. Feel how this action happens in your body. Okay, you rip and everything comes here. You feel stuff in your hips. You lift up and out. You feel that strength. And then the opposite of that would be pronation, where the knees come in towards each other, the arches flatten the floor. This is what naturally happens with the body when it breaks down, is the knees come in. This is called valgus presentation. It does a lot of wear and tear on the meniscus of the knee. So a lot of people have their knee issues. Then the ankle joint, the toes don't bend anymore. So we get bunions, which are bone spurs, calcifications, and more padding for the big toe area of the body. It's called the first ray. So having all of this up and this strength and this awareness is going to help you go against the curve and stop that breakdown and degeneration in the body. Okay, ankles. So we're going to do tightrope. I think tightrope is the best way to feel the ankles. You put one foot, we just do it as a walking thing, one foot in front of the other. Okay, so just do one foot in front of the other and feel if you still feel heel strike, pinky toe edge, spreading peanut butter, fully loaded. Heel, pinky toe edge, peanut butter, fully loaded. And for me, look straight ahead. For me, when I do that with all of that awareness in my foot and I walk this line, I feel so secure. I really feel so secure if my awareness is in my feet when I'm doing this. So I'd love to hear about that too. So you're going to tell me about the balls in your feet, what you noticed afterwards. And then I'd love to also hear if when your body goes down there, you can feel that. And then just come to a static hold of that. Take one foot in front of the other. I'm going to do it from the side. Toes are pointing forward. Front foot touches the back foot. Okay. Bring your body weight forward and then bring your body weight back to the back foot. Just let happen whatever's happening and feel that communication back and forth in the ankles. Stand on your back leg. So make sure you're standing on your back leg. Bring your front toe up to a tippy toe. And then bend the knee and feel how that communication, that side to side, goes into the knee joint. And then go ahead and bring yourself out. Take the other foot back. The other foot is forward. One foot back, one foot forward. Bring your body weight back. Bring your awareness into the foot that's in the back. Come on to the front tippy toes to feel what you're feeling. And then bend the knee. And then bring yourself back up. Let's shake the legs, shake the arms, shake the body, shake, shake, shake. Shake your arms all over the place. So we're going to do probably one of the oldest asana or poses in the yoga practice called tree pose. So the first one I told you where it's a good gauge for how strong your balance is becoming is when you're on all fours and you lift one arm up and one leg back in spinal balance or balancing cat, whatever. It's referred to different things. That's one. This is the second, tree pose. How long you could stand up, how secure you are in your single leg balance. So let's have the feet forward, hip distance. So don't be too far. You want to be hip distance, and you don't want your feet touching. You want to be hip distance, which is the big toes are a few inches apart. The heels are a little wider apart because the top of your foot is wider than the back of your foot. You're going to push your body weight onto your left foot. You're going to come onto your right tippy toe. Hands are on your waist. Let your right knee move out to the side. And then bring your right sole of your foot in between your ankle and your knee joint. Hands are on the waist. Your chest is lifted. Look straight across the room at something that doesn't move. Look straight across the room at a dot on the wall or a dot on whatever it is that's in front of you. If it's an image, look straight at one part of that. really focus and hone your attention. It's your gaze, it's called your drishti in Sanskrit. Bring your hands up if you'd like into a scarecrow position. And then bring your hands together. Bring your hands down. Bring your knee forward. Let's do the other side. So just move your feet for a second. Feet are forward, feet are hip distance. Take your body over to that side. Come on to the tippy toe. Hands are on the waist. Move your knee out to the side. Bring your foot up in between your ankle and your knee. Find something across the room that does not move. Focus. Hone in on that with your eyes. The optic nerve stimulates the brain. Up to 80% of the information that comes in can be through the optic nerve. Bring your hands up to scarecrow if that's what you'd like to do. Lifting your chest up, contract your core, push your belly button back towards your spine. Grab the floor with your feet. Notice how you feel. Let your foot do that work. Your ankle, your knee, your hip, that communication of where you are in space. Bring your hands together and bring yourself all the way down. Oh, okay, that was fun for me. I haven't taught like that for a while because I wasn't sure about the balls, and I'm so glad. I know a few of you had balls, which is great. We're going to come down onto the floor and end our beautiful balance practice. Bringing your blanket onto the floor. You could end whichever way you would like to end. There is something we're going to do, though, before we completely end. So have a bolster handy if you'd like to have if you have a bolster or a pillow or a blanket or something. You're going to come down onto the floor. I'd like you to come into a supported bridge pose. We began filling the brain up and bringing the fluids to the upper body. I wanted to end the same way. So if you could bring yourself up into a supported bridge for a few breaths. With gratitude to yourself for showing up, for doing the work that you've done today in the practice. Take a few more breaths here. And then bringing the bolster underneath the knees to support the legs as you come into Shavasana. Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Hariyam Kariyam Nimame Akame Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Hariyam Kariyam Nimame Akame Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Hariyam Kariyam Nilame Kame Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Kariyam Kariyam Nilame Kame Gently begin to deepen the breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rolling your ankles, your wrists. Bring your knees into your chest, rocking side to side. And then rock all the way onto your right side. Taking your hand on the floor to push yourself up to a seated position. We'll close the practice with sound. Doing the om sound is blending the ah or the a sound, the o, and then the sound. Bringing the sound from the back of the throat to the center of the mouth, finding the lips closed to form the part of that sound. This is the primordial sound of life, the sound that all living things together make this sound om. Take your hands together, the thumbs touch the sternum bone, so it's the sound of life. Let's take a deep breath down to the belly. We bow our heads to each other in namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. So I would love to hear about your experience with the ball and the foot. if you were able to notice after the first one, if there was a difference one side to the other. And then also, there was one more thing, right? That I wanted to know about? Maybe it was the ankle joint and feeling once you bent the knees that the movement goes up into the knees, or feeling that feeling of um, walking, or once you were walking, I think it was when you were walking on the tightrope, were you able to feel more secure in that when you're bringing your awareness to all the movements of the foot? That's what it was. Hmm. So if you could let me know if any of those happened for you. Usually we're able to tell each other those things. So I'd love to hear that. Um, Perfect. Thanks, Athena, for letting me know that. And you have pretty limber feet being a ballerina. Um, but yeah, this can be very helpful with balance overall, the bot all overall. And now I am definitely going to be doing much more ball work myself because I used to do this so often and I really felt that tension in the left foot. So all the nerves that begin up here, they end down there in the foot. So nice to get all that stuff flowing and moving. Thumbs up if you like what you see. Send me any questions or suggestions or comments that you may have. And I look forward to seeing you in another class. I teach for now 6 a week. Um, and so I look forward to seeing you in another class. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a lovely day.